Tonight, Lead Story sits on one question. How do we know when a country is moving in the right direction? First, Jamaica has been named the most peaceful country in the Caribbean and third most peaceful nation in North and Central America in the 2026 Global Peace Index. Don't just said, folks, that's what it says. What does this mean for Jamaica's reputation, investment, climate, and overall future? Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Auburn Hill, weighs in. Then, residents across St. Andrew are experiencing water lockoffs again. The National Water Commission says declining inflows to the Hermitage Dam have forced regulation measures across the corporate area. What does this say about the country's water security, and what should customers continue to expect? Then later, the government has launched Phase 2 of the Spark Main Roads program, a $25 billion investment targeting 37 major roadways across the country. Supporters say it is a transformational investment. Critics say the public has heard promises before. We'll examine the details. And finally, tonight, opposition spokesman on youth and human rights, Isaac Buchanan, joins us to discuss comments he made about women in Parliament and the conduct of members of the House of Representatives. The remarks have generated strong reactions. Tonight, he explains his position. I'm Tyrone Reed, and this is Lead Story. For decades, Jamaica's international image has often been shaped by discussions about crime and violence. But this week, a different narrative emerged. The 2026 Global Peace Index has ranked Jamaica as the most peaceful country in the Caribbean. Let's pause right there and let that sink in. And the third most peaceful nation in North and Central America, behind only Canada and Costa Rica. The announcement came less than 24 hours before National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang told Parliament that Jamaica is on course to record one of its safest years in modern history. Murders are 23% down compared to the same period last year. The government says this is the result of deliberate policy, sustained investment, improved policing, and the cooperation of citizens. But what does this moment mean for Jamaica's economy, investment, prospects, and international brand? Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, that is called Jamaica's Business Ministry, that's Senator Auburn Hill. He joins me now. Minister, welcome once again to Lead Story.
Congrats to see you here.
Happy to have you, and thank you so much. Yes, he's called the export evangelist, but you are here to talk about these numbers. First of all, I'd love to get your reaction. I was stumped by the announcement, but were you stumped?
The moment that came on my phone,
yes,
and the moment it came, I blasted it across all my social media. I was amazed, and I saw a reaction from my friends in India, from the Middle East, and it's an amazing achievement to think that a 14-nation group between Central America and North America, including the United States, there are only two countries ahead of us, Canada and Costa Rica. We're third, and it's an amazing achievement, and it means a great deal for this country and its investments.
Right, which is where we want to go. But before we get to what the implications for investment, have you looked at the metric that was used to calculate these scores that Jamaica came out on top?
I looked at them, and the Institute of Economics and Peace they cover over 99% of the countries and people in the world. And when I look at how they do the statistics, it's amazing, because what happens is that we were at a time just very recently, maybe a year or two ago, maybe 54 murders in 100,000. Last year we're down to 24. That's amazing, and we are moving towards what is the regional number in Latin America and the Caribbean is about 15, 16.
17, right.
So we're on the right track. If you think about this, Tyrone, in 2022, we had what, 1,516 murders. Last year we had 674. We had 674 in 2025, and Minister Chang, Deputy Prime Minister, said he's expecting less than 600 this year. You cannot imagine what it means, moving from such a high number to such a small number relatively in such a short period of time. It sends a great message about Jamaica.
And of course, every life saved is crucial, but this has implications for business and Jamaica being able to do business, for investors and their confidence in terms of coming to Jamaica and doing business. It has largely been said over these many years that we struggled with murders, that if we are able to get murders down, we will see more investments. What does this ranking mean for those possibilities?
Look at what the related matter is. We are used to that streaming thing that says that, you know, we have a travel advisory, and they've been bad and badder, if you'll allow me to use that term. Except since last year, they have been good and gooder and getting better. And what does that mean? Let me tell you what that means in business. You are a convention planner in the United States or Europe or some similar place, and you want to take your conventioners want to go to Jamaica, and your convention planners say, yes, I'm going to go to Jamaica. However, they go and check what the insurance is going to cost. The insurance company said, no, we can't do that with this travel advisory against Jamaica. Your price of your insurance is going to be so high. So they go somewhere else, Tyrone. So it was that murder thing around her neck was an albatross. And the reason why we've gotten those better travel advisories are two. The murder rate is number one. Our health service is going up. The end of this year, we expect Cornwall Regional to be open. Spanish Town is going to have a new hospital. KPH is going to be rebuilt. And so we're building that infrastructure, which is not just about economics, but about murder rate and health services. And so those travel advisors have been upgraded. Investors are going to come in. Conventions are going to come. Our hotels are going to be more full. We're going to have more people employed in the hotel industry. We expect at even better salaries as that happens. That's just one aspect. The other aspect, of course, is that you're going to have people from, investors from the United States, Canada, Latin America, wanting to have their people resident in Jamaica feel much more comfortable. Jamaican women are saying, no, we feel much more comfortable, and we're more comfortable when our children are walking from school or wherever they must walk to. And that's just in a year, 2 years. Wait until Dr. Chang and the security forces, the people at the back of the security forces in the back room doing the work, and the ones up front carrying the pressure, and the Jamaican citizens no longer is Informer for dead, but frankly, if you ask me, Informer should be promoted because they'll be safe.
Absolutely. Informer for live, as I often say.
That's right.
The ad campaigns write themselves at this point, Minister. Sun, peace. The paradise of peace. A marketing campaign should be in the offing, one would think,
and I'm
on
sure
the back of this ranking.
I'm sure Ed Bartlett and Jampro is one of my agencies, will be making sure that we carry that message in wonderful languages and language.
Sun, and peace.
Overseas.
If you use that one, I should expect a check in the mail. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, I know very often when we see these rankings, because it's a global thing, we think externally and how it will attract investment to Jamaica. But what should this mean for Jamaicans?
I just gave you an example. Women are saying we feel much safer. You know, today...
Do you tie that to them having more babies? We're below replacement.
I'm going to leave that for Dr. Tufton. I will stay with investment.
That's an investment, you know.
It is an investment, but he speaks better about it than I do. But if you think about that, what that is saying to you is that in a time period after Melissa, you hear more about rebuilding for Melissa than fear of crime. In the past, any social issue you had, crime was number one. And that is a major change. And it's one of those things that it is, you know that you're having a wonderful effect when you don't hear about it. And less you're hearing that crime is what I fear. No, I have respect for the police, and the police are doing an outstanding job. And when I go to make speeches across the country, not just Kingston, when you go across the country, and I say, look, we have to have a rousing applause for the police. It is absolutely rousing amongst the crowd. They believe and respect the police.
I hear you on the police should get praise for this. Of course, the security forces, the army included. How much praise or credit should the Holness administration take?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question. Because I have watched from the time I was in early 2016 when the government come to power. I was senior advisor to then Minister of Finance, Audley Shaw. So I've watched the numbers before we came to power and since we've been to power. And once I had to make a presentation, was to Cabinet, and I was tracking the kind of money, why we need to have growth, and the kind of money we need to have to keep what we're doing going. And you look at the amount of money that has been spent on security, all kinds of security, equipment, training, police stations, vehicles that work and always work, the kind of quality of individuals we've employed and encouraged into police, the ease with which we have been getting recruits. For the first time, our police is at full force. I remember when it was 8,000 people, I think it's now 13 or 14,000, somewhere in that number, fully subscribed to and financed by our tax-paying money. So we, the Andrew Holness administration, led by Dr. Chang as both the DPM and the Minister of National Security, but really fully supported by the Cabinet, has done an amazing job in investing and getting the people ready.
We have a minute left, and I'm being held to this strict minute, but the Prime Minister pilloried, villainized, even some might say, for that comment that he made about being able to sleep with your windows and doors open, to the point that he came back and said it was aspirational after a point. I don't know if that it's the pressure that caused that, but Jamaica is getting to that place.
I just want to quote Nesbitt a little bit. Look at me now. Mr. Andrew Holness is quite able to say, the Prime Minister is saying, and he's not saying it yet because he's not a man who gloats. We just keep fixing, we're not pausing. We want to see that murder rate down below 600 this year, and we're not going to stop because we believe we must be a really safe country. Why is Canada ahead of us? Okay, we know why Costa Rica is, but we're using other methods while we admire Costa Rica.
So the aim is to get to number one.
The aim is to get there, and yes, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and his Minister of National Security, and his Cabinet, all of us who support that effort, should be complimented because we would have been really criticized if we didn't work.
Thank you so very much. You heard there from Jamaica's Business Minister, Senator Aubin Hill, talking about that ranking that put Jamaica as the most peaceful country in the Caribbean. Yeah, quite a ranking. I'm Tyrone Reid. This is Lead Story. We take a break and come back with more.
Jamaica's unemployment rate has fallen to 3.3%, down from 13.2% in 2016. Our government's continued focus on job creation is delivering real results. We are building Jamaica. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
This football season, don't just watch the action, be part of it. With Chris and Charles Score Big Loan Promotion, upgrade your TV, plan that trip, or handle what matters most, fast and easy. And here's the best part, every loan gives you a chance to win one of of 3 58-inch smart 4K TVs. So while your favorite team scores on the field, you could be scoring big too. Promotion runs May 11 to July 20, 2026. Visit any branch or Chris and Charles for details. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Score big this football season on and off the field.
Attention government pensioners. The Accountant General's Department Life Certificate Drive is coming your way. Look out for us on the following dates. Saturday, June 27, Spanish Town Library. Monday, June 29, Morant Villas in St. Thomas. Tuesday, June 30, Portland Parish Library. Wednesday, July 1, St. Mary Parish Library. Thursday, July 2, St. Anne Parish Library. Friday, July 3, Trelawney Parish Library. Saturday, July 4, St. James Parish Library. Monday, July 6, Hanover Parish Library. Tuesday, July 7, Westmoreland Parish Library. Wednesday, July 8, St. James Methodist Church in Clarendon. Thursday, July 9, Manchester Parish Library. Friday, July 10, St. Matthew's Anglican Church in St. Elizabeth. And on Saturday, July 11, at the Portmore Parish Library. Remember, drop boxes are also available at parish libraries in Hanover, St. James, Portland, Westmoreland, and Manchester. Follow our social media pages and the press.
Welcome back. This is Lead Story. I'm Tara Reid. Now, water is one of the most basic services a government can provide to its people. But for many residents across St. Andrew, access to that service is again being restricted. The National Water Commission has announced water regulation measures effective today as levels at the Hermitage Dam continue to decline. The dam is now operating at approximately 65% of its capacity. As a result, communities across the corporate area will now receive water on alternating schedules. The NWC says the measures are necessary to preserve available supplies. But for residents, the announcement has once again raised questions about water security, infrastructure resilience, and whether the country is adequately prepared for extended dry periods. Corporate Relations Manager at the National Water Commission, Delana Williams, he joins me in studio now. Mr. Williams, welcome to Lead Story. Good to have you. It's been a while, man. Good to see you. It's been a while. Yes. One of the first things we need to ask Mr. Williams is, why are we back here?
Well, the reality is we still have seasonal rainfall in Jamaica. The other reality is our populations have somewhat outgrown the water supply systems. Hence, you get to particular times of year when the demand exceeds what is coming into our water sources. For Kingston and St. Andrew, we have storage for approximately 1.2 billion gallons of water. But over the dry spell, you find that the day-to-day needs of the city is one that is going to put a strain on those same water storage systems. So we're here because while we're catching up, we're still not at that point where the supply is meeting or exceeding the demand that exists. I'll tell you what we're doing about it.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Right, because we don't want it to seem doom and gloom.
Like you're not doing it.
Right, like we're not doing it. In fact, we have been managing far better over the last 5 to 7 years. I referenced what is called the non-revenue water program. For simple terms, typically in Kingston and St. Andrew, we were losing close to 70% of the water that we harness, treat, and aim to distribute to customers. But through leaks and also through theft, we were losing close to 70. Out of that program, we have been able to retain almost half of that water, so our average loss now is closer to 40%.
In Kingston and St. Andrew?
In Kingston and St. Andrew. The island-wide average is still closer to 70, but that's because we still have not yet completed the tender process to roll out further or similar works in the other parishes, and that's an ongoing process as we speak.
So what have we been doing differently regarding non-revenue water? To take it from 70% in Kingston and St. Andrew, that is, from 70% to about 40%? Or
Indeed.
Is it just above or just below 40%?
Just below.
Just below.
Yes.
So in the high 30 percentile.
Average 38%.
What are we doing differently?
What we do different is we've identified key areas where pipes need to either be replaced or repaired, and we've targeted those. We've also done something called pressure management. So there are places where you had too high pressures and other places where you had too low pressures. So we've regulated the system so there is not pulsing on the line. Typically, after water goes and comes back, you find that those pulsing and sometimes vibration from vehicles causes pressure points on the line.
Damage the line.
Right, and those damage the lines, cause breaks and so on. Especially when you have an aged network, which we won't deny, but we'll speak to the fact that we are in the process of changing a number of those lines. So across Kingston and St. Andrew, for instance, the line from Manor Park down to Halfway Tree has been replaced.
All right.
Yes.
What represents the greater percentage of the losses? Pilferage or old pipes?
I think it's a combination, perhaps, of.
Now, when you look
both.
at the numbers,
Yes.
what do the numbers tell us?
They suggest that the numbers are close, the percentages are close.
Almost 50% split?
Yes, close to it.
Really?
Close to
50%? So what have you been doing about theft then?
So we've been treating both. In some instances, you recognize that persons still want water. They need to access water for their daily means. And so we've been doing a mixture of ramping up revenue. We call it revenue collection activities, which means disconnection drives, targeting places where there is high level of pilfering. And we've also been doing what is called the amnesty. Over the last year and a half, you would have seen we offered a whole slate of amnesty options ranging from 20 up to 50% for pensioners and aged persons. Persons with disabilities, we offered 100% write-off on debts that were older than 2 years. What this did is to give our citizens an opportunity to come back to a legal status. And so it's been mixed, I'll admit, but you would have heard that we collected significant, I think we were able to address over $500 million in arrears.
All right, let's go back to the water lockoffs,
Yes.
Sir Delano. So we are back to water lockoffs. Talk to those who might not have seen the schedule, what they are to expect. And I want to get to whether or not when we had an abundance of water, if we had to release any of that. That's one of my favorite questions to ask the NWC. So during the rainy periods, when we have the catchment facilities are full, sometimes you have to release water from the...
Not release. What we do during the spate or when there is an abundance, we literally lock in the storages because the storages come to a full capacity.
So you can't take
it's
any
not
more.
that
you're releasing what you've got.
They're full.
Did you have to do that this year?
What we've done is we then divert all the flows that our pipes can take to the plant. So we lock in 100% at Mona, similarly at Hermitage. So we have all of that in storage. The excess water is then piped to the facilities. If beyond what is being piped when the plants are running at 100%, you still have an excess, then Mother Nature takes it.
So why has the accusation been that NWC releases the water?
It's not a release, it's simply an overflow. And when you look at the watersheds that we have, we are guided by the Water Resources Authority. There is what is called extraction license. There are studies that suggest how much water you can take.
Explain that euphemism for me.
Let me go again.
Because you describe it as an overflow.
Yes.
So when you get to full capacity at the storage facilities, what do you do with the excess water? You say you send it to the various facilities,
Indeed.
but none of it is wasted.
I wouldn't call it waste.
Well, what should people call it in layman's terms?
The earth is just taking the excess. The earth is taking. So let's go again.
Right. So no, that sounds like a euphemism, Sir Delano. It does sound like a euphemism. So you close off the catchment facilities.
Yes, at full capacity.
And you send you direct the water that comes into the facilities.
Right.
But if the catchment facilities weren't closed, you would be able to be collecting more water.
No. The catchment is full.
Good. So now, if it wasn't full.
There you go. But at its full state, we then funnel all the water that our main pipes can take, what we call raw water harnessing pipes. We funnel all of that water to the treatment plant itself. For Mona, that's 12 million gallons. for the Hermitage, that's 14 million gallons. Now, if you still have an excess, then the watersheds that are in Augustown, the watersheds that are in the Stony Hill area, they take it. What it informs us, though, which is obviously where you want us to talk about, is what if there is enough to fill other catchments? Let's
Which
talk
is probably
about
the
that.
case, right? Do we need more
The
facilities?
studies are now being undertaken for the Hermitage to say we need to extend it. How much do we extend it by? So by tracking those flow levels, last night at our awards ceremony, Prime Minister spoke to the plans to expand the Hermitage, and similar studies will be undertaken to also expand the Mona Reservoir.
As opposed to building new facilities?
Well, you want to look at all the options. Now, if they are already there, it means they are at a position where the watershed naturally flows to them. The option to expand them seems most viable, but we are still pretty early in terms of what the assessment will lead us to. The outcome is what the average Jamaican wants. We simply want a bigger storage that during these dry months, they do not have to worry about the issues of water
All right,
loss.
so again, we're not releasing water from the catchment facilities.
No.
All right.
Right.
So, all right. So
Let's be clear. The overflow is what goes back to the nature, to the natural
How we say it goes
watershed.
back to the nature and natural?
Yes.
What does that mean?
So we're not
Take that to the
releasing
college
any.
first.
So it has come to its capacity and it overflows. That's it.
And overflows what? Mr. Delano, it sounds like you're using euphemisms
No,
here. You know,
no.
So it overflows.
So let's
and
look
goes
on
where?
screen.
Yes.
Let's look on screen. Right.
So we're looking
Right.
at footage of this is
That's the Hermitage.
Hermitage Dam.
Right.
Yes.
So when you get to there, when it gets to full capacity, that's called a spillway.
Right.
Right.
And so water is.
Water then goes over that concrete
But that's
catchment.
water spilling, isn't that spilling?
It's a spillway, but I'm saying to you, before it gets to that, once it gets to that level, we then funnel all of the additional water that we can take to ensure that we're at maximum capacity. So the average customer,
No, can you reclaim that water that is spilling now?
at this point,
Yes.
we reclaim it first with the pipes that also are connected to the system there. So at the little house that you're seeing on screen,
Yes.
there are a number of pipes that are connected there. There are also a number of pipes that feed into the Hermitage itself. And there are some pipes that bypass the system.
So it's not being wasted.
No.
All right. So tell the people again, because I think we have about 30 seconds,
Yes.
Delano, the lock-offs, the schedule, and so on. It's difficult for people to turn the pipes on and not get any water.
I know.
Right?
And
So-
we want to appreciate that we've served on 24 hours for as long as we can. Once it gets to 65%, we are forced to slow the rate of decline for the watershed, for the storage.
Quickly remind us the areas to be affected and the schedule.
Areas above, right where we are, our valves are outside your building. So everybody above gets water now at 6 p.m. overnight into 6 a.m. tomorrow. The times will vary slightly for persons depending on elevation. So if you're on Mannings Hill, Red Hills Road, Queensborough, areas of Charlton Avenue and so on, you get between 6 p.m. each evening and 6 a.m. the following morning. By 6 a.m. we begin to serve the downstream areas into Halfway Tree, all the roads leading off, Eastwood Park Road, Crossroads and so on. They also benefit from water between the hours, and notice I say between because the pressures may vary, which means some persons will get it 6:01, a few persons may get it at 6:20, 7 o'clock and so on.
But the rest of the country should be okay.
The rest of the country we've been seeing in the northeast area, St. Mary, a few systems, Portland, St. Anne also a few systems. They vary between 60 and 80% in terms of current capacities. We have individual schedules that are implemented for those, trucking where necessary.
Starting when?
Some of them have also started. We continue to publish them over our social media, Instagram and WhatsApp pages. And we also send text messages to our customers.
All right, we're out of time, but that was Delano Williams. He's the Corporate Public Relations Manager of the National Water Commission. And of course, we'll try to keep you updated as the NWC publishes the information. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. We'll take the break right here and come back with more.
Jamaica. Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
The greatest show on earth is here, and Fan Central goes into extra time for 39 days right throughout FIFA's Showpiece tournament, with a Pepsi in hand, of course. Catch the playbook with a tactical breakdown from our expert coaches. Come sit in our fan corner, where you have your say on the day's action. Fame or shame? Who are the best or worst players of the day? And have a laugh as we share some of the best reactions on social media. After the final whistle, it's extra time. Fan Central Extra Time. 8 p.m. daily with 10 p.m. shows on select days where there are 8 p.m. match kickoffs.
Fan Central Extra Time is brought to you by the Pepsi Football Nation, where fans make the rules. Football, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back. This is Lead Story. I'm Tyrone Reed. Now, anyone who drives regularly in Jamaica knows that the condition of our road network remains a major source of frustration, and that's putting it mildly, really. Potholes, congestion, drainage, challenges, and infrastructure that often struggles to keep pace with growth. The government says its new Spark Main Roads program is designed to address many of those concerns. The initiative will see 37 major roadways prioritized for rehabilitation at a cost of $25 billion. Among the flagship projects are Washington Boulevard and Don Robin Avenue in Kingston. The government argues the program will improve connectivity, reduce travel times, and support economic activity. Dwayne Vaz is the deputy spokesperson on roads and works, and he joins me now. Top of the evening to you, Dwayne Vaz.
Good evening to you, and good evening to all the listeners. Happy to be here with you.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Vaz. First of all, let me get your reaction to the Phase 2 of the Spark program. Were you impressed with Phase 1? And what do you think will happen with Phase 2?
Well, definitely I have not been impressed with Phase 1. And when I heard the announcements, my initial reaction, honestly, was here we go again. Here are these grand announcements to make everything seem okay when things really are not okay. We have had serious issues with Spark 1. And when I say serious issues, it was about changing, for example, the original duration for Spark should have been 3 years, should have been coming to a close next year in March, but we see in the budget where allocations are going up to 2030. So that is one thing. Secondly, with regards to the amount of roads, we hear the minister stating in this report at this event that it's the first our government has taken up in 2 years. The initial figure was 660 roads. That's what we heard announced at the ending of 2024. Now we're hearing 300, so I'm wondering if tomorrow when I get up, I'll hear 150. So these are serious issues we're having. Also, when the amount that is budgeted in the budget this year for Spark Roads is really 4.5 billion, and next year it's 8. And roads in Phase 1 that are still yet to be completed, still not started as yet. So we're having serious issues with that. And when we spoke to the contractors also with regards to why some of these roads have not been started, we're also hearing that designs have not been done. This is Phase 1 where the allocation was already stipulated for each road. So I'm wondering how was an allocation stated before design for roads were actually completed. So there are many issues we're having with regards to Spark 1, and it really begs us to wonder what will happen for Spark 2. And there's another statement I heard the Prime Minister make with regards to contractors, which would make me not enthused either, is because he stated that a major issue we're having with Spark 1 is that we don't have the horsepower for contracting, meaning that the contractors, we don't have enough contractors to complete all of these roads at the same time. But the Prime Minister must remember that it's the government who actually chose one main contractor to do all the Spark roads. So if now we're saying we're having an issue because of contractors, what will change for Spark 2? Because there isn't anything that I see can be changed in between he making this announcement today and when the roads will begin.
So do you think Jamaica has the capacity in country for the execution of a program like Spark?
Not every contractor is up to speed, but we do have contractors who, if we had involved them in the program, then it would all go well for not only them, but for the country as a whole. So what I'm really saying, I'm not saying that the China Harbour should not be involved in the process. What I'm saying is that to choose only one contractor to carry out this magnitude of work, that is the same issue we're having now, and the Prime Minister just highlighted that same issue.
To choose, you say it's to choose. Wasn't it put to tender? Isn't that your understanding?
Well, yes, they said it was put to tender, but as I said, it was designed for only one person to do it. So it's one main contractor to carry out all these works across Jamaica. And as I said, he stated clearly yesterday in that presentation that one of the issues we're having with the Spark program currently is that same contractor issue. So if we're having that issue now, what will change for Spark 2? And that is why I'm saying the enthusiasm is not really there based on what we have seen happening in Spark 1. We know that Spark, based on how it was conceptualized, we would have thought it would have been administered in a more efficient way, because the idea of the program is very good. We all as MPs and as a party, as an opposition party, we welcome the Spark program because we want to see the roads being fixed. So it's not a criticism about not having the Spark program. It is just about how it is being implemented, and the issues we have been having with Spark 1 have not been resolved. So it's hard to be enthusiastic about what will happen for Spark 2.
Am I hearing from you, Dwayne Vaz, that were the PNP in power, they would have perhaps split this program up into multiple components to have multiple contractors?
I am saying that what we would have done, if we have, well, we know we have capable contractors. As I stated earlier, not every contractor is up to speed when it comes down to delivering the results that we want. But we have had contractors, and we have contractors in Jamaica that we know can deliver those same results. So what I'm saying is that we will not only be using one main contractor to do everything, because as we're seeing now, as it is being proven, it is very difficult for one contractor to carry out everything in the efficient and effective manner that we want.
Right.
So
but I'm not certain I'm hearing you, though, Dwayne Vaz, on the question itself I asked.
No, yes, I'm saying.
Right. Would you split the contract up? Right.
Yes, man, if we were there, it would not have been just one sole contractor doing every single thing. It would have to be designed in a way where the capable local contractors are involved in the program.
One of the things I found to be curious about the launch of Phase 2 of the Spark program is that there wasn't a the Prime Minister nor the de facto Works Minister were able to say to the country, this is when the proverbial tar will hit the road. What do you make of that, Dwayne Vaz?
Well, it would be difficult for them to give a timeline and a start date because of what has happened in Spark 1. The duration of time for the Spark program has constantly been changing. And as I said initially, the original duration was from January 2025 to March 2027. And based on where we are with Phase 1, it is no way possible for us to complete all that work by next year, March. And as I stated in the budget, if you look at it clearly, we are seeing allocations up to 2030. So I'm not sure why the government continues to say they're attempting to do all these roads in 2 years, because this is obviously just not possible. And because it's not possible, that is the reason why they are not giving any timeline, because it is harder for them to be held accountable if they're not giving a timeline. But we want to hear the timelines, you want to hear the start dates, because people every day are wondering what is happening with regards to the condition of our roads. So people really want to know when these works are going to start.
Why launch a government program without a specific start date is a reasonable question, Dwayne Vaz. It seems lacking in foresight and a tad performative, some might say. Do you agree?
I agree totally. Every single project that should be done, we should have a timeline for it. And there should be a start date, and there should be timelines to end. If we have issues in between, we should be able to come to the country and say, listen, this is what the situation is. We are delayed by 6 months, for example. So persons can always know what is happening, because we have to hold the government accountable for whatever is going on.
CVM's Natasha Williams attended upon this launch of Spark 2, the program to fix the main roads across the country. And she put the question squarely to the de facto Works Minister, Robert Morgan. Let's hear his response.
And for the Spark program now, some of the main roadways that are set under the program to be undertaken. Can you just give us like a breakdown in terms of a timeline in which it's
well, some of them are being designed now, so it would be difficult for me to tell you an exact date as to when they're going to start, but a lot of them are going to be starting this year, and they're going to all be finished by next year.
Difficult to say when they're going to start. How can we launch without not knowing when to start?
It's totally ridiculous. And why he has to say that is because of what I said has happened in Spark 1. The duration continues to change, and he mentioned designs, just some they are waiting on designs. And as I said, for the community roads in Spark 1, the reason the contractor is given why some of these roads have not yet started is because they have not gotten the designs as yet. So I'm wondering how the costing was done before the designs were actually completed. So it's a serious issue we're having in Spark 1, and that is why I just stated it's very difficult for us to be enthused about Spark 2. And I'm not sure how, I saw the criteria for how the roads were chosen, and they're saying roads of high volume connecting persons. But I also thought, well, I can't say when the roads were chosen for this particular part of the program. But what I was thinking, especially areas that have been ravaged by Hurricane Melissa, where the main thoroughfares would have gotten a beat and gotten worse than they actually were, I would have thought some consideration would be put into those areas for this particular program. But what I'm seeing on the list of roads for Spark, main roads, I'm not seeing a lot of the major thoroughfares that would have been affected significantly by Hurricane Melissa.
During my own traversing throughout the corporate area, the main roads are pretty bad. What has been your assessment of the state of the main road network?
The main road network generally is terrible. The only real main roads that are in very good condition in Jamaica would be the highways, the toll roads. The general infrastructure across Jamaica is deteriorating significantly, and they were bad before the hurricane and they got significantly worse after the hurricane. So it's a serious issue we have, and we must put the necessary investment in place for us to get ourselves up to that level where the roads are in a good condition. We know everything can't be done at once, but we'd expect that some more priority would be put in place for us across Jamaica to ensure that we can traverse the roads in a more decent manner.
Was the opposition consulted on the selection of the roads on the Spark 2?
No, the only consultations we're aware of would have been for the community roads, where community consultations were held. And the community members in each constituency would have chosen or made suggestions for the roads that should be chosen. And then I think from there, they would have prioritized and chose the 10 roads that some constituencies would have been earmarked to fix. But with regards to the main roads, these 37 roads, I think this was done via the government and the National Works Agency. But we were not consulted as a party, as an opposition party, with regards to the roads that were chosen.
I'm out of time doing Vaz, but is that problematic for the opposition, or are you okay with this because we're talking about main roads?
No, we're not okay with it. We would have loved to be a part of the discussions because consultations is a must, and we would have loved to have put some knowledge and input into what was happening. And because we know through collaboration, things will be better, and we have always been willing to collaborate with the government, but that sometimes the government does not seem to want to collaborate with the opposition. So it's sad, but that is the case that we face currently in this administration. Dwayne
Vaz, Deputy Spokesperson on Roads and Works, thank you so much for making the time to be with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we take another break right here on Lead Story. We'll be back with more.
the internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back. I'm Tyrone Reed. This is Lead Story. In our final segment tonight, comments made by attorney at law, opposition spokesman on youth and human rights, Isaac Buchanan, during an appearance on the podcast, The Perspective with Perry Cummings Jr., have generated strong reaction during the discussion. Buchanan spoke about the conduct currently being displayed in Parliament and made comments which some have interpreted as suggesting that women are not ready for Parliament. The remarks have sparked debate about gender, political leadership, and the standard of behavior expected from elected representatives. Isaac Buchanan, he joins me now. Mr. Buchanan, welcome to Lead Story.
Greetings and thanks for having me.
Indeed. Before we ask you to explain what was said, what was meant, let's just play that clip from the podcast, and then we come back with your thoughts.
I have personally taken a position and leave it to my seniors who have the backbone way bigger than mine, because you see, me is the least among them in that parliament. Yeah? That has a sense of decorum, because I was trained by the Privy Council and I've appeared before the King's Privy Council. So I have a sense of understanding of respecting even when nobody respects you. What I will say though is they must come to the times and come to reality and know that respect for all members of Parliament is owed. And certainly whilst I'm on my feet, I'm not taking disrespect from nobody, because I don't disrespect nobody. And then when I rise to my feet, I have something to say. And there's an urging, because I would have seen members of Parliament on the other side get up and they don't even know what standing order they're making point of order on. And they are giving deference. And it's a conversation to have. And we can have a conversation about blackness. We can have a conversation about representation for women. Because right now, when I invite people to go look what my contribution is, was this girl fight thing going on in the Parliament should be embarrassed. And then people will say you're misogynistic if you said perhaps. And look how they're going to cut this and mix me up. If you say perhaps, women are not ready to enter Parliament, because they can't get along with each other. It's no place for governance. Because their squabble and beef and disrespect for each other as women, right, has caused somebody to say, oh, please, Isaac, we all know you like the speaker, but she respect the opposition members. I don't even know what that is.
The voice there, and of course those visuals of Isaac Buchanan making those controversial remarks. And Isaac Buchanan is with us now. Isaac Buchanan, the shorter clip that most people might have seen did not give that full context. But even with the full context, Isaac Buchanan, the comments still seem problematic. This girl fight thing going on in Parliament is embarrassing. Some may say that is misogynistic, patriarchal language. How would you respond?
Well, I'm going to respond by saying that even that clip is short in terms of the context of the conversation. And it even was cut before the entire message was complete. I made an entire presentation in Parliament that was the basis of what my explanation was. And I'm saying that young girls are watching, young boys are watching. And it cannot be that not only last week or this week in Parliament, but since Parliament was convened and the new session of Parliament started, that there has been, from my observation, that women are unkind to women in the Parliament. And I said, if you knew the work of the former Prime Minister, the Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, and the glass ceiling that she shattered across the world and the Caribbean it is just most embarrassing to see what could be reduced as a squabble and a girl fight. And I made it clear that respect is for everybody in the parliament. You see, the public is not in the parliament when things are said off mic and off camera, and the vitriol that is spit across each other and across the floor to members. And I can tell you, I have been victim of vitriol from senior members. And of course, one would say, well, Rastaman don't belong in parliament, and we could talk about discrimination, and we could talk about many other things. What is important is that there is a certain respect that must come from our leaders, because it is embarrassing. I am a part of that parliament, and to my colleagues who have great contributions to make, I don't believe that that is the place that to be reduced to what could be amount to girl fight. I never disrespected any of the members of parliament, and I'm saying people are watching. This is what we are to do. For the stations and the social media persons that would have cut the video and try to paint a picture as if I said something that I didn't, most unfortunate.
But I said, Buchanan, why would you reference, even in referencing, even with the use of the word perhaps, and to say, why would you reference your colleague parliamentarians who are women in that regard? Because some say men disrupt the parliament as well, and there is no question raised about whether or not they belong, and that for them is sexist.
No, I do. I am narrating and I am quoting a thought, a school of thought. That's not my belief. I said when the conduct acts like that, that's where it is. I invite persons to watch the entire context of what I was saying and don't attribute those words. I've been in situations where people would like to attribute words to me. I have full understanding of the context, and that's why I have coined the term context matters, and it actually does. Because what we are seeing is that we should be having a conversation about respect for the Representation of Persons Act, persons who enter parliament with a mandate, having gone through the political process as members of parliament, and whether or not respect is given to everybody, in particular the leader of opposition, and whether or not persons, holders of the office, are getting the respect that they deserve.
Do you regret the comments I said, Buchanan? Do you withdraw them?
Regret which comments?
That's caused this controversy now.
No, the controversy is caused by persons who fail to interpret the English language, who have low aptitude for what the English literature and the literary use of language is for. I'm not withdrawing any comment, and I will not have anybody box me in terms of what I said. The English language is there for everybody, and I invite persons to enter the arena all the way up to the tertiary education so that they can understand context.
Well, political analyst Dr. Nadine Spence says the remarks reflect a troubling attitude toward women in politics. She argues that the comments are rooted in patriarchal thinking and employ misogynistic language that seeks to undermine the role and legitimacy of women in parliament. Let's have a listen to her comments.
I find his position in this interview and his position in parliament very conflicting. I'm not sure exactly what position he's occupying, and I'm also unsure as to what he meant. There's a way in which I do not want to put words in his mouth. But whether or not I put words in his mouth, there are certain things he said that are problematic, right? So I cannot know what he meant to say beyond the words he used, right? But political language has meaning beyond intention. And when a male parliamentarian describes a conflict involving women in parliament as a girl fight, he's reaching for an old patriarchal vocabulary. So he says people are going to say he is misogynistic. He's using misogynistic language. by saying women are emotional, women are quarrelsome, women are unable to manage authority without personalizing conflict. Whether he intended to or not, this phrase he used carries that history.
You heard there, Isa Buchanan, from one of the women's rights advocates in the country. She says your statements are problematic, the framing of them. How do you respond?
I can respond. I appreciate that she did not have the context, and therefore she could not make a comment about whether or not what I meant by what I said. I understand patriarchy, and on the patriarchal spectrum, guess what? Black men and women are formed identical on the same patriarchal scale. So if we're talking about patriarchy, that is the white man's concept. And I'm saying of all the work that black women have done in this country to be reduced to people watching to say this is a squabble, I'm doubling down to say that we are missing the context of the conversation. And she's exactly right. I was pointing to patriarchy and to say that we must not try to set the women's movement back to attack